So let's talk to former butler to the King, or Prince Charles as he was then, Grant Harold. Good to see you, Grant, as always. Now, as Anne says, it is absolutely fascinating, but we also have to bear in mind the differences. It is a very different royal family to ours, isn't it, in many respects?
Absolutely. Good morning, and good morning, Stephen. You're quite right. It's a very different royal family. It's got the same kind of constitutional powers. Obviously, like our late Queen, their present Queen, advises the minister. She signs bills, but she doesn't actually get involved in the actual running of the country. It's kind of similar to the UK, but it is different because they're kind of seen as more. I want to say more with the people. Now, obviously, our royal family's changed a lot in recent years. Where I think with Queen Margrethe, you've seen scenes of her where she kind of walks the streets on her own, but then, if I can say, our Princess of Wales does some quite similar. So the royal family, our royal family, are very much catching up with theirs, and also budget-wise is very different. You know, our royal family for the taxpayers over 87 million. Their royal family is about 13 million. So it's very different. It's very different. But equally, as Anne mentioned, it's fascinating because this coronation, I should also mention, is not like the coronation of King Charles. It's quite simply the Queen abdicates and the Prime Minister announces Prince Frederick as the new King Frederick X and Queen Mary. So there's no kind of big celebrate or anything. It's very different to the way that we do things.
The fact that she sort of took her own decision and then announced it herself without telling anyone else about abdicating sort of gives you the idea that maybe our Queen, Elizabeth, once upon a time did sort of think about abdication but rejected the idea.
You know, I think it's one of those. I've been thinking about that because this Queen we're talking about, she's 83 years old. She's quite a little bit younger than our late Queen. And as we've heard recently about our late Queen, very much kind of we saw what our late Queen did. I mean, she even saw her Prime Minister the day before she died. She took duty really seriously. But there was always that question, wasn't there? Would she have abdicated in favour of her son, and obviously decided that was not what she wanted to do? What I'm discovering from European royal families, it's not that unusual for the monarchs to abdicate in favour of their children when they get to a certain age. And I think, again, as you've mentioned, Queen Margrethe has been suffering a little bit with health. Maybe she feels that she's not able to fulfil that role any longer, and that's why she's passed it on to her son. But as I've said before, I don't ever see our royal family kind of following that. I've been asked many times over if I think that the king would ever abdicate in favour of his son. I just don't think it will happen. And also, the only time we've had an abdication was obviously King Edward VIII, and that was over love over 70 years ago.
Well, indeed, yeah. Look, Grant, as always, it's good to see you. Thanks very much indeed. I don't like abdication.
No, but I mean, they're a very different, as Grant was saying. They're a different royal family. They, they travel on the bus. And...
She's always seen as being quite eccentric.
Yes.
There's some pictures around today showing her in the most weird and wonderful outfits.
Yeah.
Very unlike our late Queen, but each to their own. As far as that goes.
It just, the way that the Danish royal family conduct themselves, the way they are very much more integrated into ordinary life, maybe it's just not such a big deal for her to actually abdicate in favour of her son.
That's the first time in 900 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's breaking history, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Well, interesting. As I say, we'd bring you coverage of the ceremony, but I mean, it's literally just an announcement.
Yeah.
Which seems very odd to us. We like the pomp and pageantry, don't we?
Yeah, not half. I don't think the Queen Margrethe had much of a balcony there, did she?
No,
we have a lovely wide balcony that takes everybody.
Looks a bit drab.
It did look a bit, yeah, a
bit.
But that's because they're budget conscious, aren't they? They don't have the sort of money that our royal family does.
Well, that sparks a whole other conversation.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?